Hey, hello, and welcome. You're listening to the Evolvepreneur Secrets Show for entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Brian Silverthorne, and it's my mission to help entrepreneurs make a difference and to get through the challenging worlds of startup and growth or relaunch. And we're going to dig deep today with our guest to get you some great concepts and strategies to fast track your business. And our special guest today is Jackie Sunga. And Jackie is a conversion copywriter and brand voice expert specializing in sales copy and launch strategy. Welcome to the show, Jackie.
Hi, Brian. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so
Yeah,
excited to be here.
yeah, I'm happy to have you here and anxious to hear what you are going to contribute for the benefit of our listeners. So, why don't we start out just by telling me where you're hanging out today?
So, I live in Houston, Texas, and that is where I'm hanging out. I work from
Okay,
home.
okay, good, good. All right, Houston is. Did you get banged up a bit with storms this year or no?
Not a whole lot, although when we had snowpocalypse last year, that was definitely not fun for some of my friends in the South Texas area. But
Yeah.
this year has
I,
been pretty good so far.
Good, good. I can imagine. Okay, so let's get down to business here. And speaking of business, what inspired you to get into yours?
Ooh, love this question. There are different things along the way that honestly solidified my services. One of the first things that ever happened to me was my older sister is an entrepreneur as well, and she was a copywriter herself, and I was watching her do her thing as an online business owner for several years. Before becoming an online business owner myself, I was a music teacher, and I knew that after watching my sister, that copywriting was going to be an important skill for me to learn for myself if I wanted to be a business owner. And then eventually, a colleague of mine who was the president of a nonprofit, she was following me on Instagram and she was like, "You're pretty good at social media. Would you like to manage our social media accounts?" And I knew I really wanted to get digital marketing experience. This is like 5, 6 years ago. And seeing or my sister seeing that, she was like, email marketing is so much more effective than social media. So then I started to learn about email marketing, copywriting on my own for several years. And fast forward a couple years, I enrolled part-time to be in graduate school to be a therapist. And I saw so many experts online who were they had so much experience and they had so much education and training and their expertise, and it really kind of I saw this disconnect between how much value that they had and expertise that they had and experience, but it was difficult for them to communicate to their perfect fit customer and really be able to translate their expertise to someone who could understand it, and also to translate into a sale, right? So marketing was always really hard for the people that I was in touch with. It was something that they felt really uncomfortable with. Sales in general made them really feel uncomfortable because they thought it was sleazy. But then once I really helped them see how using their own listening skills and their empathy skills, that is truly the most important part of being able to write a sales message without being sleazy. And so, um, while I was in grad school, my first client was actually a therapist launching her launching a digital course. And after that project went so well, we had a 7x return on investment. I was so clear. I was like, this is what I really want to be doing. I want to help the people who have already had the expertise. They've already had the years, decades of experience. I want to help them reach more people. So in short, that's how my business came to be.
Well, good. Interesting story. You had a few twists and turns in there, but that's kind of what makes it more interesting and more exciting.
Yeah.
So, when you were first getting started, what was the biggest challenge or challenges that you faced?
Good question. I was offering more than one thing. It wasn't until I had that first launch. It was my client had tripled her sales goal until I really, really honed in and I said, okay, I'm not going to be offering all of these things. I am really going to focus in on words that help businesses grow. And so it was definitely a challenge for me because, I thought I was good at social media. I thought I liked it, but then realizing that I don't necessarily have to offer all of the things, and I don't have to offer the things that I don't want to offer anymore. Just because I'm good at something doesn't mean that, it brings me joy to offer. And so once I stayed true to what I really wanted to offer, and how that also helped my clients, being able to find that harmony between what I wanted to do, what I was good at, and what my clients needed. That made it a lot easier for me to hone in on what I wanted my brand to be about.
That's good. That's a very common challenge, is being able to focus on something that you enjoy doing, and has great benefit to the people that you want to serve, and then figuring out a way to let them know. So a lot
Yeah.
of people just keep shotgunning it forever, and it gets to be a problem. So,
Yeah.
what's your biggest challenge now, if you have one?
That's a good question. Well, right now my business consists of myself and a client success manager. And I had to say goodbye to one of my team members who was a marketing assistant, just because I'm going to be working a little bit less in the upcoming quarter. And I knew that, I didn't want, it wasn't going to be, I wasn't going to have capacity to manage another team member. And so it was hard for me to say. It wasn't, not anything because I didn't like her work or anything like that, but it's always hard when you develop a really good relationship, and then you have to say goodbye to someone that you think, you want to stay around. And it's kind of, it's hard because, you want to keep on, working with someone. But we're still on really good terms and things like that. But it's just that thing where you're just like, working from home and being an entrepreneur gets lonely. And when you, for whatever reason, you have to let go of a team member, it's like, oh, well, now I have one less person to talk to.
Yeah, that's true. One of the things that working from home can be lonely, so you got to get out into the world in one way or another.
Yeah.
So if you're working a little bit less, you just kind of decided to slow down for a quarter, or
I'm down for a quarter. Not necessarily taking on, less work or anything like that, but I knew that for myself, I wanted to experiment with other marketing strategies. So this marketing assistant was helping me with like social media marketing and Pinterest. And I knew I wanted to experiment with other things like in-person networking and in-person events, conferences, speaking, and things like that. And so, it's still me marketing myself. But I'm the one marketing instead of an assistant doing it for me.
got it.
Yeah.
So you use the term, I think you said, best fit client or something like
Yeah,
that, or who?
perfect fit client. Yeah.
Yeah. So who is your best fit or ideal client, and how do they find you?
Ooh, okay, good question. So my ideal client, definitely, my perfect fit client has definitely evolved over time. But right now, my perfect fit client, I'm working right now, for example, on a website copywriting project for a diversity, inclusion, and belonging consultant. Usually, these businesses are making any like multi six figures, seven figures. They most likely have a small team. And I really love finding the mission driven, impact driven online educator or consultant, because often when they care so much about their own work and they're so passionate about the work that they do, you can tell when someone is really passionate about something versus, they're in it for the money, and, they're you can even feel from the sense of their team culture that it's, maybe the team is really burnt out and things like that. But when I find someone who is really mission driven and we have a lot of aligned values, it feels like magic to me. And it feels like, I feel really honored to be able to help them essentially bridge the gap between their expertise and their audience with customer first messaging. And so I love working with a lot of personal brands. And again, I was in grad school to be a therapist, and sometimes it is the therapist. I don't necessarily niche down into the mental health professional and health and wellness copywriting specifically, but usually I do end up finding and attracting a lot of those people. We get our clients primarily through referral, and then as far as the educational side of my business, because I do offer coaching of my own as well, not necessarily done for you work. Those people sometimes find me on summits that I've spoken at, podcasts that I've been on. Pinterest has also been a really big traffic driver for me as well. So yeah,
Okay.
I like to implement omni-channel marketing instead of having all my eggs in one basket.
Excellent. Okay. That's good. Well, you certainly have a handle on what you're doing, at least. And if you don't, you're really good at convincing me that you do.
Well, I'm not cheating you or anything.
I'm sure you're not. So we're getting down toward the end here. What you got any final bits of advice for the listeners?
Listen to your customers. Listen to your customers and find the gold. Find out how you are different based on how you've worked with customers. That is definitely going to be the thing that makes you even more confident in your business, because when you can find the harmony between what you want to say, what your story is, because no one can copy your story. No one can copy your experiences. Someone else can have the same, they can take the same certification or they can take the same degree as you, right? But no one has your experience and no one has your values. No one has your opinion. So the more that you can develop and elaborate on your opinions, your values, and combine that with the experience and the results you're able to get your clients, that is where you can really differentiate yourself to stand out. Even though there are so many other people who offer the same thing that you may do, being confident in that, listening to your customers, and infusing your own personality is really going to help you stand out in what many people think of is as a saturated market. So
excellent. That's a great bit of advice that people should take to heart, and I'm going to use it as the perfect ending to this episode. So that's a wrap on another great guest episode of the Evolvepreneur Secrets Show for entrepreneurs. And before you leave, if you liked it, please give us a 5-star review and maybe share it with a couple of friends. And if you want to catch up on past episodes and make sure you don't miss any future ones, go to evolvepreneursecrets.show. And if you're an entrepreneur and you got a great idea, let's get it out there today.